Hi, my name is Dave and welcome to my Solidity Basic series. Here I will guide you through the fundamentals that you need to become a blockchain developer. At the end of this series, you will be able to understand how Solidity works and you will be ready to move on and learn more advanced topics to code smart contracts. So you can find all the videos on Skillshare and I left a link in the description. Please like and subscribe so more people can find those videos and start their blockchain development journey. Hello and welcome to the lesson about arrays. So today we're going to talk about what arrays are and how we can use them in Solidity. So here we have Remix open and we'll start with the usual two-line with the license identifier and the Solidity version. And I also created a new sol file here called arrays in case you want to type it in a new file. Otherwise you can just type it in the other variable file that we created. So what are arrays? Arrays are actually a very common object in programming and they are essentially just a list of elements. We can use arrays to store multiple objects in them. It can be numbers, it can be strings, and in Solidity it can even be structs or other type of variables that we have. So in Solidity we have two different types of arrays. The first one is called fixed size array and dynamic size array. Dynamic size. So what's the difference? The fixed size, it has a declared size. So it means that it can only contain the specified amount of elements that we declare in the beginning. So if we declare that the array is only made of 3 elements, let's say 3 uint, then we cannot put 4 in them because it's going to give you an error. It can only be 3. While the dynamic size means that elements can be added as we want, and we will explore and show a function of how to add the elements. So how do we start this contract? We're going to write a contract today called arrays. And here our contract is done. Now let's look at the syntax to write arrays. So it's a variable, so we can start it just like any other variable with the type of array that we want. So let's say that we want to have a fixed type array that contains 4 uint. We will start with the type uint and then the square brackets. The square brackets is kind of the universal sign or symbol for arrays or lists in programming languages. And then inside the square brackets we define the fixed size. So in this case we'll put 4. If we wanted to have a dynamic size, then we wouldn't put anything in the bracket. So uint 4, we're gonna declare this one here as public, so we can access from it outside the contract, and we'll give it a name. So let's say we wanted to put numbers, and let's call it numbers array. Numbers array. And to put some data in it, we can just do the equal, square brackets, and then we put the data. Let's say that we want to put 1, 2, 3, and 4 separated by commas. And so here we have it. Here we have a fixed size array that has 4 unsigned integers in it. Let's say that we want to create a string array. How will we do that? We will type string and the square brackets, and then we can put inside, let's say that we want to have another fixed one, just 1 element in it, and that will be public again so we can access it. We'll give a name, string array, and inside we can just have 1 string inside the double quotes, and let's say is color yellow. So this one is again another fixed size array and can only contain 1 element because we specified it is only 1. Let's try to code dynamic size array. How we will do that? let's do a dynamic size array for numbers again. So we'll do uint because it's the type, and this time, oh, it seems like I spelled it wrong, uint. This time we're gonna leave the brackets empty because this is a dynamic size array. It can change. And we'll put it as public again, and this is a dynamic array is the name. And let's put the number 10 in it. But remember that, I forgot the semicolon here, but remember that because this is a dynamic size array, we can add how many elements we want in it. And this array like this is what are called a one-dimensional array, because they only have, is only one array in there. We can also create something that are called 2D arrays or two-dimensional arrays, and essentially those are simply an array containing other arrays. And there are some limits in Solidity. We can make arrays with, we're calling them nesting. We're calling this nesting, so they're nested arrays. We can nest up to 15 arrays, and they all must be on the same type. So let's say that we want to create a dynamic array of arrays. So we'll create a uint dynamic array. So this will be the first one, and then inside we nest other arrays, and let's say that we only put 2. I misspelled this again. Uint, and this is public, and then we call it nesting. So now, how does this work? We just declare an array. This one, this part here, we declared an array that has 2 arrays in it. So how can we picture this? Here is the first array, and then it has other 2 inside. 1, comma, and 2. And then these 2 arrays can have numbers in them because these are all uint. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And here we go. Here now we have a 2D array containing 2 other arrays. And how can we access the information inside the array? That's a very important topic because we need to be able to take the information and the data from it. So arrays are what we call index-based. That means that every element inside of an array corresponds to an index. And arrays in Solidity are what they are called zero-based index. Zero-based. That means that the count of the elements starts from 0. So if we take this first array here with the uint and it has 4, if we want to access to the arrays, we are not going to find the number 1 if we're looking for the index number 1. It starts from 0, so this one will be 0, this one will be 1, this one will be 2, and this one will be 3. So when we'll see when we deploy the contract and we want to access this array, if we want to take the number 1, we'll have to type the 0. If we want to take number 2, we'll have to type 1, and so on. So now we just saw how we structure an array and how we can syntax one. But how do we add things in it? Let's say that we have this, no, this one here cannot be added because it's fixed, but let's say we want to add numbers to this dynamic array here. We will have to write a function to do that. So how do we do that? We write a function, just like we were doing the last time, and let's call the function add number. So we'll write the function keyword, the name, and then we want to add a number to that array. So we will need to pass a parameter in here, right? So we're going to pass in the function a uint that we called number. So underscore number because we use it inside the function, even if it doesn't really have a very difference on the name. And this function is public, so we can access from outside and we can actually add our number. In this case, we are not gonna return it because we're not gonna put the return because we don't need to pull any number. And if you notice, we are not gonna put any modifier state because this function actually goes and changes something on the blockchain. So the view and the pure would not make it work because if you remember, pure means that the function doesn't do anything on the blockchain at all, and view it means that we will only read, while in this case we are going to actually write on it. So then the two brackets here, and to add elements to arrays we use the push method. So how do we use methods is that we take the name of the array, so in this case dynamic array dot push. This is the syntax, and what this does is that takes the parameter that we pass through the function and pushes it to the array, and it's just gonna basically add the number next. So we're gonna pass the parameter that we typed in the function name on the function header. That's semicolon, and here it is. There is a very simple function to add a number to the array of number here.